Welcome to the Reed and Christine Halliday Executive Lecture Series. We're pleased to introduce to you today Mr. Dave Peterson, who's President and CEO of O.C. Tanner. And if you're like me, you may have a little misconception about O.C. Tanner, and of course Dave will clear that up, but I'd like to just share a little bit about the company quickly. It was named after the founder, Obert C. Tanner. It's a human resource consulting and services company that designs and helps implement recognition programs for clients in the U.S., Canada, and Europe. They count numerous Fortune 100 companies on their client list, and the company provides presentation, training, administration, and awards for programs honoring employees' service or performance, and it's headquartered right here in Salt Lake City. I think you're indicating to me you've got, what, something like 2,000 clients around the world. Is it 2,000 out of the top 5,000 companies? I mean, this is kind of big business. There's also kind of a branch of the organization which does awards and medallions and gifts and so forth for recognition of individuals, and that's a part of O.C. Tanner that many of you will be familiar with. Anyway, let me introduce Dave Peterson then. Dave arrived at O.C. Tanner offering his services without a job interview or an offer. If the company wasn't pleased after 3 months' work without pay, he'd pack his things and leave. But he's been there 27 years. So he's obviously done something right over that time. And over those 27 years, he's proved his determination, dedication, and capabilities time and time again in literally every department of the company. While many believe it's better to be lucky than good, Dave has shown us all that it's better to be excellent than lucky. He's encouraged this excellence while working in O.C. Tanner's marketing, purchasing, IT, sales, manufacturing, and client relations departments over the years. He knows the ins and outs of our industry better than anybody, and his business experience around the world, including places like Botswana, Holland, France, and the United Kingdom, coupled with an MBA from Thunderbird American Graduate School of International Management, the same degree, might I add, that your professor holds, makes him a globally minded leader for an increasingly global company. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Dave Peterson.
Thank you. Thanks, Norm. Well, thank you all. It's great to be here. I surely do appreciate the invitation from Norm Wright and the Assistant Dean Seeley and Jane Urbanska, who's been involved in coordinating this opportunity. It's a thrill for me to be here. This is such a great university, great school. And I'm just terrifically pleased to be here. I see someone else coming in, and you might want to turn and applaud your president, who's just joined us, President Holland. Great to have you here. Thank you for the invite. I'm quite proud of where I work and what we do for a living. When I was where you are now, I didn't exactly know what would happen as my career unfolded. The introduction given is mostly true. I sometimes wonder if I was moved from department to department within our firm because they were looking for something I could actually do, as opposed to something that I had conquered. It felt like that for me from time to time. I'd like to just take a couple of minutes this morning and talk about something that I think is important. I'll tell you a little bit more about O.C. Tanner in a few minutes, but I want to start and review with you a brief message that I found quite interesting, and I think it's very appropriate for business students to be thinking about as they study, learn, and begin to think about their career. This is an article in, I think, the last October-November issue of the Harvard Business Review titled, "How Great Companies Think Differently." How Great Companies Think Differently. The author is going to be known to me as soon as I put my glasses on. Rosabeth Moss-Cantor, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this, and I hope it sets the stage for the aspiration that we have at O.C. Tanner for what we can become and what we can accomplish. You probably know from your studies that there's a traditional view of business that goes something like this. Companies are nothing more than money-generating machines. That's their goal, that's what they're to do, that's what their shareholders expect. Or the notion of a firm is one of the opposition between financial capital and human labor. Someone or someone's bring to bear financial support, money, investment, and they depend on exploited human capital to have some sort of positive financial outcome. Or there's no connection between a firm's obligation to generate money and society. This article challenges that in a very good way and talks about the fact that great companies don't operate that way. Great companies have a different logic. They think differently. They operate differently. As a result, they accomplish more and they last longer. Great companies believe that they're an intrinsic part of society. You ever thought about that? What are the key elements of society? Arguably, family, religion, government, and enterprise, or businesses. There may be some others, but these are the four that are highlighted in this article, and I tend to agree. Great companies work to make money, but here's the difference. But in their choices of how they do so, they consider whether they are building enduring institutions. Now, you might think about that in an era where sometimes businesses are started with the end goal in mind of flipping the business or turning the business, which is not necessarily bad or evil, but it doesn't lead to a great company with all of the institutional connections and societal connections that make a lasting difference in life. Great companies invest in the future while being aware of the needs of people and society. Who knows what this is? Come on, somebody? A medal. What medal? This is the Olympic gold medal from 2012 or 2002 Olympics. I've got a friend in the audience. Janessa, would you come up here for a minute? She's a student here at the university, and her father is one of my colleagues at OC Tanner. I want her to take this medal and just kind of walk it around and show you so you can get a little closer view. This is one of the gold medals. None of us are allowed to put it around our neck because we didn't earn it. But I brought it down so that Janessa could show it because I have a purpose. So will you just kind of walk up and down the stairs and let everybody see it? You can hold it or look at it if you like, but please make sure I get it back. OC Tanner was privileged to provide the Olympic medals for the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City. It was a great honor for us. Olympic medals are sort of the ultimate in recognition, if you think about all that athletes do throughout their career to prepare and then eventually compete and hopefully win an Olympic medal. And I'm introducing that to you because I want to talk for just a minute about a story I heard from Mitt Romney. Now, this is not going to be a political speech, but some of you will remember earlier last year, maybe late summer, early fall, along the campaign trail, Mitt answered a question. I don't even know what the question was, but the answer was something along the lines of, corporations are people. Does anybody remember hearing that in the news? Got a lot of attention, a lot of critical attention. And that was on my mind one day when we had a fire drill at OC Tanner. And I knew we were going to have a fire drill that morning. And so along with 1,500 coworkers, when the alarm went off, I got up from my desk. I thought for just a moment about skipping it because I knew it was a drill. But I knew I had to exit like everybody else, so I did. We all have places to go out on our campus. We have a very well-organized disaster recovery fire drill process that we adhere to. And I went out to the spot where I was supposed to be with the coworkers, and I watched as our building emptied. And all of the people of OC Tanner that I depend on, all of my colleagues, all of the talent, all of the ingenuity, all of the ideas exited the building. It was 2 or 3 days after this comment that Mitt Romney made. And I looked at that building, and our building is on State Street in Salt Lake City. It's been there for 50 years, 1930 South State Street, and it's a nice building. And I thought, you know, looking back at the building, that's a pretty good building. I like that building. I'm proud to work there. But it is nothing without all these people that aren't in it. While we're out here, nothing is happening. No work's getting done. No customers are being served. No innovation is taking place. No future is being thought of. I think corporations, especially great ones, are full of people. I think Mitt had it right. I think corporations are people, and without people, they are nothing. So I would like to just plant that seed in your mind as you pursue your business studies and think about what really constitutes success in business and in companies. I'll tell you another brief story. During the Olympics, we had a number of media that would come through the building on a tour. They wanted to see how the medals were being made. And we had a lot of attention from around the world, and we had to orchestrate different times when they could come. And we took turns serving as a guide. And we were required by the IOC to wall off, literally wall off and sheetrock off a portion of our factory, and we were limited to 17 people that were out of 1,500 that were able to see, touch, and be involved with the medals, know what they looked like before they were actually unveiled at the Olympics. I was not one of the 17. I was not needed for the design and manufacture of the medals. I never saw them until anyone else did, when they were presented at a podium. But one of these reporters asked me a question, and it was an innocuous question. How much gold is in the medal, or something like that? And I gave the answer, and we continued on the tour, and he wrote his article, and it got picked up by the AP Wire, and it got printed in lots of newspapers, one of which was the hometown Sacramento Bee, where my parents live and where I grew up. My dad is a former University of Utah athlete. He played on the basketball team, the ski team, the tennis team. He's a terrific athlete. I have 4 brothers. All of us are average. All of us are mediocre. None of us hardly ever got off the bench. We played, we made the team, we never starred. And we never measured up to our dad's athletic ability. And we have a great relationship. We tease and kid like all families do. I got a phone call the next morning after this article printed from my father, who said, "I am so excited, this is a red letter day for me." I opened the sports page of the Sacramento Bee, and I saw a headline that said, "Utah company makes Olympic medals." And I knew that was your firm, so I read the article, and your name is in it. I have waited 45 years to see your name on the sports section. It's a red letter day. That's a true story. Thanks, Dad. Let me tell you, as I conclude the remarks on this article, the 6 characteristics that it talks about of a great company. I would like to think our firm is on its way to being a great company. I think there are some of these characteristics in which we excel, and there are some in which we have some more work to do. I think they are ambitious, and I think they're worth pursuing, and I want to just quickly review them with you, very quickly. First of all, a common purpose. A great company has a common purpose. Everybody in the company knows it. Purpose and values, not the widgets made, according to this author, are at the core of an organization's identity. Purpose and values, not the widgets made or the services invented or provided, are at the core of an organization's identity. And they can guide people in their efforts to find new widgets that serve market and society needs even more. Number 2, a long-term focus. Many of you are going to leave your academic career behind to go to work for firms that have a short-term focus. Sometimes it is imposed upon them. Sometimes firms must devote a significant amount of their resource and attention to the quarterly report, to the ongoing stock price and stock analysts. I don't have that encumbrance at O.C. Tanner. We are a privately held firm. It allows us and affords us the opportunity to make every decision in a board meeting or in a team meeting or in a manufacturing team huddle with the long-term goal and the long-term interests of the company and our customers at heart. Great companies, according to this author, are willing to sacrifice short-term financial opportunities if they are incompatible with institutional values. Great companies turn down business opportunities if they don't think they are in alignment with what the company wants to accomplish. They walk away, and over the long term, they're better for it. Emotional engagement, this is a favorite of mine. You've all been part of organizations. It might have been a team, it might be a classroom setting, it might be even an employment opportunity that you have or have had, where there's an emotional connection. You love your coworkers, you get it, you know the mission of the group, you've bought into it, you're going to do whatever it takes to help it to succeed, no matter what. You've also been part of organizations where that doesn't exist, and you're disconnected, and you feel isolated, a little bit apathetic. Maybe you just flat out don't care. Maybe you're just punching a clock. Great companies aren't like that. They have great emotional connections, and well-understood values and principles, again, according to this author, can be a source of emotional appeal which can increase employee engagement. Big difference in the success or failure of business as to whether or not employees are engaged. As you move on in your careers, I would really urge you to think about this and to become the kinds of leaders and managers and teammates that study and learn how to create that kind of emotional engagement and connection. Number 4 is partnering with the public. This means you need to, if you're going to be a great company, think beyond your borders and your boundaries. Not necessarily geographically, but look outside the walls. What can you contribute? Where can you add value? How can you make lives better? Not just for your employees or your shareholders or your customers, but for your communities. And the United States has a rich history and heritage of businesses focusing this way. Some of the greatest businesses, some of the greatest contributing businesses to our communities are often not so highly thought of by certain elements of our society, either because of the kind of work they do or the industry they're in. But you don't have to look too far to see some terrific influence that comes from private industry. And last, or fifth, innovation. According to this article, articulating a purpose broader than making money. This is really interesting to me. If you can articulate a purpose that is broader than making money, you can guide strategies and actions, open new sources for innovation, and help people to express corporate and personal values in their everyday work. You know how you really promote innovation, and how we try to do it in our company, is let people go, empower them, take some risks, trust them. They're going to make some mistakes. They'll come up with some boneheaded ideas. Not everything will work, but some will. And those are ideas you never would have captured otherwise. And you are young, and you've got careers ahead of you, and you have ideas and energy, and companies need you. And they need that kind of a focus and that kind of a willingness to experiment. We need it. When we hire new people, we're looking for that and hoping to find it. Lastly, and this is really kind of an interesting one, self-organization. When I first read that, I thought, well, I wonder what that means, self-organization. Well, here's what it means, and this says it better than I could. People are not paycheck-hungry shirkers who want to do the bare minimum. Raise your hand if you're a paycheck-hungry shirker and you just want to do the bare minimum. Your professor wants to know who you are. They are not like that. People are not that way. They are not people that want to do the bare minimum, nor are they robots that can be ordered to produce high performance. Instead, employees make their own choices about which ideas to surface, how much effort to put into them, and where they might contribute beyond their day job. If companies, and when companies do, they become great companies, can tap into that kind of an employee, that kind of energy, there is no limit to what can be accomplished. I'd like you to think about that a little bit. You may even want to refer back to that article. It's a great one. Now, I'm going to turn our attention now and talk a little bit about O.C. Tanner, if I may. We are a good firm. I love this company. I've been there for almost 30 years. I have a colleague here today whose daughter is showing the medals, Larry, who's been with our company 31 years. Last week we celebrated someone's 45 years. We are 85 years old this coming September. What do you think of when you think of an 85-year-old company? Old? Stale? Stodgy? Stuck? What do you think of? Well, I hope you'll think again, because my hypothesis is that if you are 85 years old, you're doing something to still be alive, you're more than hanging on, you're more than surviving. We have won our share of awards over the years for different things. The one I'm most proud of was a few years ago winning Entrepreneur of the Year award from Ernst & Young. We were 83 years old at the time. That was really quite a thrill for us. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about O.C. Tanner and connect in a little bit some of these great company ideas. And I'm not trying to sell you on our company. I'm just trying to respond and give you some examples of where we've had some success and where we have some opportunities ahead of us. This is a little bit more information about our company. We're in our 84th year. We are financially stable. Our firm is one that operates without any debt. Our founder was allergic to debt, couldn't wait to get out of debt, never wanted to be in debt. He's been dead for 15 or 16 years. We know he still does not want us to take on any debt, so we don't do that. We finance growth and investment. It's a wonderful, liberating opportunity for us as a company. We've got good market share. We serve over 19 million employees every year in 140 different countries, and we serve over 8,000 corporate clients and programs. We are a thought leader in our business. We write white papers, we do research, we commission third-party research. We try to understand what's changing, what's happening, what do our clients need to know, how can we help them. We've written 2 best-selling New York Times bestsellers on the topics to help promote it. We believe big time in philanthropy. 10% of our pre-tax earnings go to philanthropy. We focus on education, the arts, the environment, and basic human needs. Those are our 4 philanthropic priorities. These are some of our clients. You'll recognize some of those logos. In 1994, we launched the first website that we hosted for one of our clients that had been done in our industry, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. It was for Apple, still to this day one of our great corporate clients. This gives you a little bit of a feel for who our clients are. You may be wondering what we do. Well, we put together a strategy, a holistic, comprehensive recognition and appreciation strategy. We're trying to help companies build great cultures where there are engaged employees, and we do it through recognition. We believe that if companies will appreciate and notice great work and achievement when it happens, it will lead to positive things. We provide for our clients full-scale administration, brochures to communicate to their employees, communication campaigns, social media, mobile apps, and awards. These happen to be some of the awards that we manufacture for Pepsi. These are all done in our Salt Lake headquarters, and these happen to be other kinds of awards that are in our program that employees of our clients can select from, and there happen to be over 6,000 of these stock-keeping units, so the variety is quite extensive. And that gives you a little bit of a snippet or idea on where we get our revenue. We go into a client, we consult with them, we understand them, we listen, we do some assessments, and then we craft a solution that we implement, and it includes awards that are given when people achieve great things or when they hit major milestones in their career. I want to talk to you a little bit about this concept of appreciating great work. Have you seen those 3 words together before? This is at the heart and soul of O.C. Tanner. This drives to one of the 6 characteristics of a great company in that article we talked about: employee engagement, emotional connection, building a great culture. Think for a minute with me about great work. What do you think of when you think of great work? Have you ever noticed great work? Have you ever felt like you did some great work? How about this? Think about every product you love or service that you enjoy. What's your favorite product? Do you just love what Nike makes? Do you love what Apple makes? What do you love? What product or service really makes you think that's great work? I love that. Think about how you feel when you learn something cool for the first time from one of your teachers, from one of your professors, something that you know you didn't know before, something that you know you'll never forget, something that you know you'll use again and again in your career or in your personal life. That's great work by the professor. They have taught you something that you will never forget. You've had those moments in a class. All of a sudden something strikes you and you know you've just learned something valuable. Or think about every improvement or new success where you work. Do things get better where you work or do they get worse? Where you work, is there continuous improvement? Or is there continuous mediocrity? Or is your workplace on a downward slide? I just want you to think about great work, what it means. When you think about those things that you enjoy and that you love, those products or services, that means that someone did some great work. Someone invented, someone thought, someone executed. Great work means making a difference that people love. That's different than good work. Good work is making the same. Good work is good enough. Good work is okay. Good work is good. Great work is greater. Great work is bigger. What does great work look like? You know, think of some specific examples. I bet you can. Have you ever got a paper back or a report back or accomplished something where you work where you knew you had done your best? You knew it was great work? When you think about those great products and services you enjoy, do you ever think about, well, who did that and why did they do it? I wonder what other impact it had. I wonder who else likes this product. How did they know this was going to be valued? Why did they do it? Here's some thoughts I want you to think about. I think everybody thinks this way. I think we all love making a difference. I don't think anybody gets out of bed in the morning and thinks, well, I'm just going to hopefully stay under the radar today and coast along and not make a difference. I don't think anybody would doubt that great work is the lifeblood of ongoing success. If you want to succeed, and we all do, if you want to be happy, and we all do, we got to do some great work. We have to focus on it. We love to be around great work. Great work creates other great work. If you're part of a team where of 5 and 2 or 3 are doing really great work, the other 2 want to do great work. It's contagious. You want to be a part of that kind of energy. You want to be a part of that kind of success. You want to be a part of something that makes a difference. We all do. It's natural. It's in us. Great work is also success in small pieces. This is a fun diagram. Let me go back here one. Appreciate great work. There's something that happens when great work is appreciated, whether it's in the home or the classroom or the workplace. When someone does a little piece of great work and it's appreciated, this is what happens. Someone does great work, it's appreciated, and what happens? It creates more great work. You want to do it again. You want to do it even better. And it goes around and around and around. Appreciation, encouragement, noticing achievement, and thanking people for great work creates more great work. This happens all the time in successful companies and successful organizations. That's how they move ahead. If you want to boil it all down, that's it. This is a great survey by Ken Blanchard. On the left, we have answers to this question that managers answered. The question is, what's most important to people in the workplace? This is how managers answer the question. This is what management thinks and knows typically. Well, the number one item for our people that they're concerned about and that's important to them is good wages. They always want more money. It's never enough money. More, more, more. They got to have more money. That's what they care most about. Number 2 is job security. Number 3, growth, and on down the line. Look at them all. They're all good. Good working conditions, interesting work. People want, personal loyalty is important to them. Tactful discipline is important. Full appreciation. Made it in the top 10, according to managers. Let's look and see what employees say about what's most important to them in the workplace. Let's look and see where good wages landed for the employee. Number 5. Managers said it was number 1. Employees say it's 5th on the list. What about job security? Number 2 for the manager. Number 4 for the employee. Not really too consistent here, are they? Not really on the same page. What do you think would be number 1? I set you up for that. You better get it right. Number 1, full appreciation for work done. That's what employees overwhelmingly responded, and do so in survey after survey. They want to work in a workplace where they're appreciated, where their work is noticed, where their achievements are given credit, where they can aspire and accomplish and create and be appreciated, be recognized. They want to work in a place where they can achieve a potential that maybe they can't even imagine yet. Here's how the rest of them look. Almost flip-flopped. But quite a difference there between what managers think and what employees think. You all know Dick Gephardt. What's he famous for? Anybody know Dick Gephardt? Used to be on Channel 2 News, wasn't it? He's an investigative reporter. It's kind of like getting a call from 60 Minutes. It's not always a great thing if 60 Minutes shows up with a camera at your door and wants to interview you. Well, Dick Gephardt did that. He also did some of these consumer watchdog kinds of things. He contacted us a year or 2 ago and wanted to come in and interview us. And it wasn't a gotcha kind of thing, but you never know. You know, you just never know what's going to come up. But we opened our door and we had him come down, and he wanted to learn about what we were doing. And we had an article in the paper about National Employee Appreciation Day, which happens every year. And we were kind of nervous. We thought, we don't know what he's going to do. Let's open the door and let him in. And he did. He came through. He took some notes. He was asking questions. He was writing up a story. And toward the end of the day, he met Jill Ritchie. Jill Ritchie's been with us for about 30 years. She mans the reception desk at one of our entrances. Check people in as they come and go from the building. Terrific lady. She left her booth, and when she saw Dick Gephardt rounding the corner, tracked him down and said, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all the great work you do on the news. We see you helping people that aren't getting justice, that are being taken advantage of, that need help. And I saw you and I believe in you, and I just wanted to thank you. Well, this guy is a pretty crusty guy. He's a tough guy. He's a nice man. He was a little taken aback by that. He didn't expect that. No one had really ever said that to him before. We also have some buttons, some little buttons that we use in our company to reward people, and we pass them out when they say different things. It's kind of a fun little campaign. She pinned 4 or 5 of these buttons on him, and they're kind of fun, and he really enjoyed that. That's great work by one of our people. Let me tell you about Annette Gertsch. Annette is the manager of our refinery, and we used to have manufacturing processes that use all kinds of nasty chemicals. We didn't like it. We wanted to get rid of it. And we figured out some ways to do it, but we were left with this big monolithic plating center where we had used cyanide and ammonia and all kinds of things. And it was a death trap. And we wanted to tear it out, but we needed to know how to do it the right way environmentally. So we got some bids, and we were told that it was going to cost us about $300,000 to do it. So we committed the funds. We felt like we had no choice. It needed to be done. We weren't going to get any real value out of it. There wasn't any real payback other than reclaiming that space. And Annette thought that was too much. So she went to work on a different plan with her team. And her team was the one that used that building, or that part of the building. And she came up with a plan, and she executed a plan, and we approved the plan, and it had oversight from all of the necessary governmental regulators. And she made that happen for about $20,000. And as a reward and recognition, we presented her with something that's very important to us as a company. This is our A. It's the A that you see and appreciate. It's the A that's part of our logo. This happens to be made of solid silver, sterling silver. And we etch along the side of it a little story about what the person accomplished. It's called our President's Award. And we present several of these every year to someone that really does exceptionally great work. And Annette was one of those people. This is Mike Padilla. Mike Padilla just celebrated 25 years of service with O.C. Tanner. His son, his daughter, and his wife, there's Mike, had never been in our building. It's a secure facility. We have a lot of gold and diamonds. You just can't walk in. They'd never been in. We invited him to come and hear what his coworkers said about him. It was an emotional 20 minutes where one by one, 4 or 5 coworkers talked about a career of great work that Mike Padilla had performed and contributed to O.C. Tanner. None of these people ever go back after one of these events to their workplace or workstation or their team not wanting to do more great work. They feel a part of it and they feel connected. This is what happens when great work happens in a company. It's a little viral. It spreads. If you notice someone that does great work, more great work happens. And if you notice that and appreciate it, and it doesn't take a lot of effort, more of it happens, and then more. And pretty soon you have this kind of thing taking place in your company. You have higher performance. You are growing. You're celebrating your successes. You are achieving results and noticing them. You're sharing in them. You are inspiring one another, and you are allowing people to achieve a potential that they probably didn't even realize they could achieve. Because when you appreciate them and encourage them, they stretch a little further. They reach a little higher. We love this about our business. I want to pause now maybe and encourage you to ask me any questions or challenge anything if you disagree. Usually there's lots of disagreement in a college campus. Happy to answer any questions about great work, about O.C. Tanner, about that article. Anything? Yep. Did I see a hand? Maybe not. I thought I did.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I've always known that O.C. Tanner has done gold jewelry and things like that. When did they make the transition to what you're talking about now?
The question is, she's always known that we were involved in gold and jewelry. When did we make the transition to what we're talking about now? That has a lot, that's a very good question, it has a lot to do with how you stay alive for 85 years and relevant. Many know, as your dean announced in his introduction, that O.C. Tanner has a really high-end, beautiful jewelry store in downtown Salt Lake City. We also have one in Park City. That's about 5% of our business, 5% of our revenues. We're about $450 million in sales. Obert Tanner started the business in 1927 selling seminary pins up and down the state of Utah to seminary graduates and then seminary rings. He pretty soon figured out that schools didn't have any money. And he realized there were a lot of people in corporations that needed to be recognized and appreciated, and they had money. And he started to incorporate that. And over time, we expanded to just being a manufacturer of corporate lapel pins like the one I'm wearing, where we take the corporate logo and people wear it, and most places you go in a bank, for example, you'll see them wearing their bank logo or something. He expanded that, and we've expanded it and grown it to be a much more comprehensive view of all of the aspects, not just the award that's given, but the thinking behind it, the expertise, the research, the impact that can be had. How do you measure the results? And how do you really build great teams and cultures where people do great work? So that has evolved over time, and it's propelled the company and furthered its opportunities in the market. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Are you engaged in any of the foreign markets and foreign companies?
The question was, are we engaged in any foreign markets with foreign countries? And we absolutely are. About 2/3 of the Fortune 500 are clients of ours. Someday they all will be. And they have employees everywhere. And they want to drive great work and achievement. They want to recognize their people everywhere. And so we do. We have a plant in Canada that's been there for 25 years. We have a subsidiary wholly owned in London, just outside of London, that serves as our distribution point for all of Europe. We have partnerships and local solutions around the world, and we serve 140 different countries, some through export and some through in-country local solutions. Places like India, Brazil, Mexico, Singapore, Hong Kong, we have much more significant presence than others. But yes, we do, and we're growing and continue to, and we must. Good question about international. Well, listen, I think my time's about up. One last question. Anything else? Yes, right here.
Do you find that with great work, do you think it's employees that are self-motivated to do it, or do you guys come up with a system that helps produce more great work?
Great question. Are people self-motivated to do great work, or do we come up with a system to help to motivate them? The answer is both. Everybody begins with a seed or a kernel of desire to do great work. We try to help our clients tap into that. But we also help them create a culture where it's encouraged and welcomed and measured and required. And that's all part of the bigger answer to your question. Great question. Listen, thank you all, everybody. It's great to be with you. I appreciate it.
You know, I'm going to ask Dave to come up here, and I think we've got time for one more question, and I've got a burning question. Could you tell the students just a little bit about your rather unusual approach? We've heard it before. I'm not sure we've ever heard it being successful, of approaching a company and saying, you know, I'll work for you for free. Can you tell us about what motivated that and how that played out for you?
I graduated from Thunderbird with my MBA in 1982, December. Tough recession. Jobs were hard to get. Recruiters weren't coming to campus. And I had a job offer in Brazil. And I was interested and anxious to go do it. And I've been married a year. We had a brand new baby daughter. And I married a gal from Utah. I grew up in California. And she said, first of all, she said, could we just look in Utah? I said, well, I'm not going to find a job in Utah. And then she said, well, I'll be there if you want to come visit. So I came back to Utah and looked for a job. And I asked, and this is something you might think about, I asked for some help. I was able to find 5 business leaders that would talk to me, and I asked them who were the best companies. And the only company that was on everybody's list was O.C. Tanner, a company I hadn't heard of, a company that at that time had 80 million in sales. Long story short, through the interview process, they weren't sure about me, I could tell. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But I needed the job, and I wanted to work there, and I did. Sort of an act of desperation. I did say, it was a Friday, and I said, look, I can tell you're not sure about me. How about this? I'm going to come to work on Monday. I'll be here at 8. And I'll work for 3 months for free. And you can decide at any point in time if you want to let me go or keep me. And I did. And I came to work on Monday at 8, and they hired me, and they paid me. Now, to this day, occasionally somebody will say, you know, you make a little more now than you did when you first came. We'd like those 3 months now. But not often.
Very good. Thanks for sharing that. That's the same offer that President Holland made to me about 1.5 years ago. And I appreciate that, too. But anyway, Dave, thank you very much for coming today. We have a small token of our appreciation, actually made by one of our students who has a small business.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.